Hey kids, welcome to the Capital Life Podcast. I am your host, Abby Pagud. This is where we talk about all the things that life brings, the good, the bad, and of course, the healthy. And today's episode is actually called Higher Ground. And I have a very special guest with me today on an episode of Keeping It Real with Real People, Miss Tory Saks, because she's freaking awesome. Welcome to the Capital Life, Tory.
Hey, so excited to be here.
Me too. I'm super excited because we can chat for hours because of our just similar intuitive awakening and awareness of what we do and our the weirdness of fun that it creates. But I also love it because there's just been so much shit going on in the world right now. Like so much shit. Like
so much.
It's the upgrades. It's the slumber. Like, I mean, this past week alone, so many people were like in this slumbered state. And I'm like, okay, everybody's getting cooked for upgrade and shifting. And I don't know what's coming, but they've been in this constant just fatigue and exhaustion and needing to replenish themselves. This episode of The Capital Life is brought to you by Fred Shots Photography. If any of you have looked at my website, it is like a Fred Shots gallery. This man has this masterful skill in bringing your soul through your headshot. It not only gives you a uniqueness to your headshot, but it also shows your personality in that instantaneous moment. But he doesn't just do headshots. He gets those magically milestone moments of your life through wedding celebrations, graduations, even opening up your own business and videography. You name it, he does it. So go check out fredshots.com. Have you ever found something that just feels like you? Not because it's trendy, but because it actually matches how you think, how you move, or how you're trying to show up in your life? That's the energy behind the Capital Health shop. From oils that support what your body's going through to apparel that actually says what you're thinking, like be stronger than your excuses, or I wonder if tacos think of me too. It's not just stuff, it's an extension of the work. If you want to explore what we've been cooking up for you, head over to capitalhealth.com and check out the Capital Health shop. Please like, share, and rate us on whatever platform you're listening. It's how we start to really spread the message of good in the world that needs it so much right now. If you find this helpful or insightful, don't forget to connect with us on Facebook and YouTube at Capital Health. That's KAPITOL Health. Also, visit us at capitalhealth.com and subscribe to our newsletter and get wicked awesome updates. I love being able to have time with you, not just because energetically, I know you are destined to be one of like my daughter's healers and intuitive people. And it's true. And she knew it when she met you, and it just hasn't been her time yet. But at the same time, it's like, we're really close to we're getting closer. But also just because like, it's nice to talk to people that understand, and then you don't feel as crazy for your intuitive instincts that a lot of us kind of felt crazy when we were kids. So
yeah, no. And I think that's what I love about just like talking to just anybody, but especially my clients, like, or anybody that will tell me like, oh my gosh, Tory, this is like, I just need to tell you something crazy. And I'm like, actually, you're not crazy. And it totally makes sense to me. There's so many times people have told me what they think is so off the wall. And I'm like, actually, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, well, and that's what I really love is like, sometimes I'll have a client that will open up to me about something in particular, and it could be something that an instinct or they knew something. So they just trusted and did. And then everything came full circle at the end of it. And they're like, I don't understand. And my response is welcome to my world. Like that is totally normal for me. There's just so many commonalities within it. And it gets to the point where you just start to just trust the unknown and trust the process overall, even though that's one of the hardest things for us to do is surrender and allow ourselves to rise to a higher ground. Like it's not our natural instinct to do so.
No, it's not. And even though like we are intuitive beings, we've been practicing that muscle on a daily basis for years. Like there's still moments where I am not necessarily sure if the universe has my back. I'm like, okay, I like teach this, I preach this, and then I like have a moment. And then it's so beautiful like just how quickly the universe is like, oh, but like, here you go, just in case.
Yes.
Like, I mean, like there's been a lot going on recently in my life, and that has shifted and changes. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like the
Yeah.
universe, like if I had any question, again, it's just like beautiful how it presents itself.
Well, it's, I kind of want to go back a little bit into backstory of like some of
Yeah.
your awakening and awareness because, like me growing up, like my intuition was pretty spot on from the gate. Like I naturally did it, but it also like flagged me out as being so rare and weird that, I got tagged into, oh, she's just got a lot of personality or but I've always had the you're wise beyond your years or you are an old soul, like that has always been something that has been reflected, which I think a testament to my grandfather and some of the intellectual conversations on how he raised a lot of us did that. But there's a different energy behind that, like it's past lives, it's experience, it's all of these different things. But I am a very firm believer that, the name of the game of life is to wake up. And then how do you do so? Boom. Like our experiences wake us up to our intuition. And to me, it actually like saved my life because I did not realize how much healing ability, even until this last year or two, that my voice actually is one of my strengths and my abilities. Because when I speak into things, I say things that are, we're channeled in, we're so impactful, and then everyone almost ends up muting. And either that or, I'm such a fire personality, fire to the flame can be mesmerizing. And people get into almost a hypnotic state, especially when I speak into something that is needed to be said. But like, I didn't know how that was so connected in my youth, to where literally my voice saved my life as my dad actually was choking me behind a Kmart alley. And like, and my voice actually got to this pitch because it was almost like he was in this psychotic state, to the point where it was, he was not there. He was not in his body. Like it was as if he was possessed or something. And this just tiny crack within my voice, grasping for pleading for stoppage, all of a sudden snapped him out and broke the frequency to which he came to realization and then stopped what he was doing. And it was my voice that like saved me. But then for years I was suppressed in my throat chakra because of that experience. Like even facials were difficult. But and then I had to go to intuitive healers for facials, massages, those types of things, because as I was upgrading in my abilities, though the basic massage or the basic facialist could no longer handle what I was needing to replenish and rejuvenate. And I know that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
Even if it doesn't necessarily make sense to some of our listeners,
yeah.
you would understand this. And I would love to hear your spin and your take on that, because I could tell when I was talking, you were dialing in and it took you somewhere.
Yeah, no, I was getting like a couple, I tell people I get downloads or messages, and like I mean, we've had encounters where literally I'm like, no, I need to leave. And then we'll still be talking for 30 more minutes. And it's because like there was something I had to say, or I needed to listen to, or I needed to give you something. And then it's like, oh, that's what it was. Now I can leave. So like, first off, I just wanted to say that. And then second off, also like, yes, most of the people, I believe that even healers need healing. Like, I mean, I'm a conduit for what I do. So I need to be a clear channel. And yes, we all have the ability to heal ourselves, and we do facilitate healing. But at the same time, there are people that maybe can like be a catalyst or like shine a light on something or look at something in a new way that we need to know. So I'm like you, like my friend who I get facials from, like we met at Reiki training. Like another friend who I get massages from, actually, we also met at Reiki training. So like a lot of the people I met, they're very intuitive, whether they come out and talk about, okay, like I have worked in energy medicine, or I just wanted to learn about this more. But I think it just adds a little something, and it comes at it from, I mean, I believe holistic healing saved my life. It saved my life, I feel like, a few times. But like getting back to you and your dad. So I work with foreign entities all the time. Like I've dealt with some, and you talked about past lives. I've dealt with some that have come back in this life that I've had to vanquish from past lives.
Yes.
Generational, from lineage. So like I work on all of that, especially as a crystal healer, like one of the modalities, but like specifically that's where it's popped up. So it sounds like, yeah, there was probably a moment where your dad had a foreign entity. Like there could have just been something where he was vulnerable.
It was such a bizarre, like, no, there was derangement from his upbringing and trauma and things carried on continuously. That is him. But this particular instant was so much like a drop-in.
Yeah.
That it was, I mean, you didn't know who that was. It was like we went into a portal of just insanity. And then it was like, something had to break that frequency, that chain. And I knew that you would understand this, because I've actually never spoken aloud about what that felt like, that, because you do witness different things, like you do,
right.
Like a lot of psychology, like will sit there and they'll talk about disassociation. And I don't like that term. I don't like the term disassociation, because I don't think it harnesses the explanation of what's happening on an energetic level. And I feel
an out of body, but like no one wants to talk about it. Like literally, like a part of you is in the body, because if it wasn't, you would be dead. But then there is like your soul, your being. I mean, because again, I work on the 5 bodies. So the mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, and physical body. So when we're not all in alignment, that's when we have out of body. Well, I mean, other things happen, but when we're not like completely in the body, then one of the bodies is like, maybe the spiritual body is like not attached, or like the aura is not attached, and we have to work on that. And so that's essentially what was happening to you is like, okay, a part of me needs to be here because I need to have breath, and this isn't my time to leave this life. But if I was going to fully be present in this moment, like I would so lose my mind, and that's also not healthy. So that's essentially what I think was going on.
Yeah. Well, and it was like, and it was interesting, because even when I reflect back on it, because, when I use my abilities for, sessions, right. I always kind of say, a little mantra, prayer, whatever anybody can call it, whatever the hell they want. But I always basically just kind of reconnect and say, allow me to be who I need to be going into this session, use like whatever words, whatever delivery, what is needing to be said needs to be said for this person. And then like my soul self literally goes up to the left corner and behind. So I mean, literally, I'm literally floating like here, as I'm using my body and my channel to be who I need to be for that person. And it's interesting, because as I reflect back into that memory and that experience, and I've done tons of clearing with that. Like, I know, like, especially over time in different phases of my life, and then being able to address certain things and some of the double entanglements to which come from it. But what was really interesting is like, that's really the first time that I definitely felt that split outer body experience. Like, it's the first time that I really remember going to a different place. Like, like it's almost like I had to, my soul self had to does that make sense?
Yeah. Like when it was before you say had to, I'm like, you had to, like, that's just like what entered in my brain. It was like, because, we all have a purpose, and like, you have like message, like that's why you work with certain clients, like you have messages and you need to do the work that you're doing. And so it was like, okay, well, this is a really icky moment in my life. And so, and also like you didn't have the faculties and it like wasn't your time for certain things. So it was like, okay, this is really terrible. So I'm just gonna like, part of me is not gonna be here so that I can experience this. And then like, oh wait, now's the time to like start talking about it, use it for healing, right now. But back then it was like, okay, just like the only way through is through. But like you had to.
Right. And the next day when my body went back to merging, it was like, then it was going through the physical purging, the emotions, the everything, like the realization, all of it, like the grief, the shock, the horror, like all of the things. And I couldn't speak about it. So then it added a totally another level of suppression of my voice from that instant. But then over time, it was like I had to go through a lot of my healing even before starting my podcast. I mean, like I'm doing this for almost three seasons now, almost 4. And I couldn't start it until actually after my upgrade from when my grandfather passed. And that actually put me, because I've always been a very big premonition person. I used to astral project as a child. I even proved to my sister that I could astral project, which she then called me crazy. But then I actually told her what she did while I was, quote, napping. Like she had claimed I was napping. And then she was like, how the fuck did you know that? And I was like, because I was flying like I told you I could. And I saw you do all these things. And I verbatimly told her what she did. And she was like, there was nothing. But her face was so I can't pick up what you're putting down. I don't understand this. And so that's when I really didn't speak a lot about what I was intuitively picking up.
Yeah, well, it sounds like she already like went through a lot of programming. So, you know, as children, we're the most open. And then like as we go through our awakening, we're like really decoding ourselves. But also, you are also like your voice, I'm sure like the tone of your voice changed because you like that moment was so impactful and changing. Oh gosh, what was the other message I was getting? But then you like all the grief. And so it's not surprising that you went to all these healers and like the throat is so sensitive. You know, people will have moments and I'll pick up on like past life trauma, even though like maybe they don't have any trauma from this life.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is a very vulnerable space, the throat. So I always ask clients if I have to do any work here, just like either Reiki or crystals or whatever, like, hey, are there points in your body where if I touch you, you're just like whack me?
Yeah.
Because I need to know that.
Oh, like, and I have that. I definitely have that. Okay, quick little note before we keep going. If you've ever listened to the show and thought, I kind of want to carry this energy with me outside of the podcast, go check out Capital Health Shop at capitalhealth.com. We've got a mix of things in there for everybody. Oils to support what your body's moving through, customized exercise and nutrition plans, and even gift cards so that you can spread that Capital Health love. And of course, the swag. Shirts that actually say what we're thinking, such as be stronger than your excuses or run like your kids are looking for you. So if you want something that actually matches how you're showing up in your life right now, check out the Capital Health Shop. Achieve your ideal health where health meets alignment. Like I have accidentally, involuntarily smacked my husband literally as we're like getting down and busy. And there's like my thigh. If there's this area on my thigh where if you touch it, I will involuntarily throw.
It's visceral. It's visceral. And sometimes, like, again, you don't know if it's from a past life, if it's ancestral, if it's like family lineage, you don't know. But like, that's kind of the beauty of some of these reactions. If you're open to it, is like, okay, wow, like this is really like, I don't know why this is happening, but it's leading me down a path to actually help me on my journey, to give me more information.
And I love that you said that, because when that happened, one, my husband was incredible because he just like took the smack and said, well, that was new. Like, and then like laughed it off. And then I froze and was like, I have no idea where that came from. And then I was like, give me a second. And so in that moment, I actually left the bedroom, separated myself, and then I actually tapped into my inner child and did a small version of shadow healing on myself, and basically was, went straight into that. Okay, when did I feel this? How old was I? Is this, like going into, is this mine? Is this somebody else's? This is current life? Is this whatever? And then dove into, addressing, okay, what am I needing? Safety. Okay. What am I needing? And cleared that out as much as I could on the fly, because sometimes it's like when those emotions rise to the surface and they're there, if we don't use the opportunity right then when that wave, it's like sometimes it's harder to dive in later, or we need assistance and we need to reach out. But just even bringing the awareness of, holy crap, okay, this person said X and that just flew me and I don't even know that person. Why would that bother me? Just the awareness helps creating the shift in the right direction. And a lot of people are trained, like we were talking about, they are programmed to not do that because of either societal norms, expectations, the ways to which we were, taught to suppress our light and who we are.
Yeah. And the other thing I will say, we'll see how much we get into human design today or not, or all the different things.
We can go anywhere with this.
I know,
go all the places.
So fun as a Pisces ascendant, Vedically. I love the no boundaries. People need to give me boundaries, man. But anyways, so I'm a non-emotional in human design, and I'm an empath. I am an empath. I didn't even realize that for a really long time, because people just say, oh, you have really good emotional intelligence. When they say that, that means you're an empath. But for me, a lot of times before I got a lot better, especially when I first started doing this work, first off, I didn't know about human design. I didn't know I was a projector or non-emotional, but I was thinking, oh, I'm picking up on a lot of emotion. Maybe that's mine. And then as I've gotten more on this journey, it's okay, what you're feeling right now is not yours. Right. But I came here to experience emotion and feel those things, not necessarily to create. But so as you talk about differentiating, is this my past life, current life, inner child, family, the different layers, it's also differentiating not only the different emotions and which body is impacted and where it is, but also is this actually for me, it'd be is this actually my emotion? Or you're with your husband. I don't know if he's an emotional or not in human design, but does he create big emotion? It's funny. I have to do this a lot with certain family members. They'll call me and I'm just get whacked with something. And I'm oh, for a while, I thought it was me. I thought it was because I was holding on to my emotions for a few days and I just hadn't processed it. And then it was no, that was just this other person hitting me with emotion.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that I always like to remind people, because, I love the fact that the term empath has been finally starting to be thrown around for the last 10 years, but the intensity of it and the awareness of it has been more the last, good 3 to 6, right? And but and I always remind, people will be oh my gosh, you're an empath. And I'm actually, sweetie, we're all empaths to a certain level. It's about what category to which our skill set is, and there was, I think it was maybe 2016, 2017, there was a really fun empath quiz that was going around. And I really liked it because it actually would designate the levels to which you were open to your empathetic abilities. And so it was like a 30 or 60 questionnaire type thing. And it was kind of really cool because it was when I took it, it was almost everything was a yes, except for 3 things. And it was I think one of them was I couldn't feel the senses and the emotions of the food to which I was eating, where a lot of people can get that vibration through the food. And then they end up, some of them turn vegan or, whatever, because their body energetically needs to. And I think I cannot remember the other one that I wasn't connected to, but that popped up in my last upgrade. So that's longer. Like, no, that I was like, oh, just never mind. Okay.
Well, that's like what is so funny, because when I went through Reiki training, like I'd never done one of those quizzes before. But again, like people were like, oh, you've got like such high emotional intelligence. I could tell, like, before I became a healer, I worked in marketing. So like I could tell,
Oh,
like,
you must have been blowing that shit up like crazy, because you would be like tapping into the creative sense and being able to get it in those same synergistic.
it was interesting. Like, so I was on the client service or account service side, but it would be interesting because we give presentations and I'm very connected to time. And so in astrology, that's Saturn, the planet Saturn. But so I would just be like, okay, we got to wrap up. Like, people are just like not into what we're talking about right now. We need to leave. Like, it'd just be really interesting. I look back on that. But yeah, so I never really took an empath quiz until I went through Reiki training. And then I did. And I was like, holy shit, like literally all of these, like a check. I was like, oh, okay. The fact that you didn't consider yourself an empath is actually like hilarious. And now you're just like owning up to it. The other thing is, like, I'm dairy intolerant. I could do better, but I'm dairy intolerant.
I'm dairy intolerant also.
How I started my journey kind of like here in the spiritual stuff, but or like my big awakening, I guess I should say. But and then a few years later I got diagnosed with leaky gut, and now I don't really do gluten. And it's funny because I just traveled to Europe and like I was able to eat gluten.
You're fine. Yeah, you're absolutely fine over there, because no, we cannot. And a lot of it has to do with the toxic chemicals that are in our food and our natural aversion against it, right? So like I have a lot of food sensitivities, and I actually function better on a pescatarian diet. So like, and actually I love my meat and potatoes, and I totally killed some jalapeno chips last night. But today I am a massive freaking bloatfish. Like I am, like, my body is hurting, and energetically I'm a little unkeeled right now. I'm not as balanced.
Yeah, I was going to say, so in Ayurveda, like we talk about eating for your doshas, for your like constitution. And we also talk about like how what you're putting in your body really affects it's like mind, body, soul. So it really
that is what I am learning to have to do right now, because my body is going through a massive shift, and I physically do not feel well if I don't, like, and even my body, sometimes I have to watch it because I will feel acidic even when I've gotten I'm fully hydrated, vegetables, everything, even when I've like cut out all acidic vegetables, which, like my degree is in nutrition. Like my degree, all of my degrees are in the kinetics of movement. So somatic healing, all of those different things. And then nutritionally, but that I am starting to advance onto what you're talking about. And it's like
it's a game changer. That honestly was like the foundation for me. So like a little bit of background for you and listeners is that in 2016, I went through like my big, I guess, spiritual awakening upgrade. And it all happened because I had really bad allergies, like sinus infections all the time. I was eating everything at that time. And I went to the allergist and they said, hey, like you need to come in and get allergy shots like 3 times a week. And I was like, my body just said no. And like, I thought it wasn't all about like getting a shot at the time. Now it is. But back then it was like, when do I have time for this? Who's going to pay for this? But my body literally was like, no, there has to be another way. And that's when my friend told me about Ayurveda. And I remember being like, I don't know about this. Like, come talk to me in a month, like after you've been seeing this person for a month. And then like, we'll just see what happens. And so like she obviously, like I went, and that became the foundation where, like, for example, I'm Pitta Vata as my constitution. So like I was eating all the spicy things, and like it's funny because you can tell if even I ate a bell pepper, because I will be way more spicy and feisty later, because that is what I already have that in my constitution. I don't need more of that spiciness in my constitution. So it's really,
and I can't handle that. My body cannot handle spice. Like it does not. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, so I like joke. I mean, it's not a joke anymore, but it's like, oh, you don't want me eating this because I'm much better. Like I'm much more balanced. But
That's the joke I make on caffeine. I'm like, you don't want to see this on caffeine. Like it just
yeah,
gets worse.
no, but that's also like I'm same. I like through Ayurveda, like just and
Yeah,
also like being more intuitive about my eating. It's like, okay, how do I feel after I ate this? Oh, I didn't feel good. Like
right.
my system will tell me immediately. Like it is like a no joke situation. Like, oh, we didn't like that. We just wanted to let you know. But like from there, it's like, okay, I don't eat this because it doesn't feel good, or because like maybe I feel really ungrounded after eating
Mhm.
this. And it's already really easy for me to be up in spirit and hard for me to be on planet Earth. Like I'm wearing grounding stones all the time.
Right.
I talk to clients about wearing crystals all the time. So it's like, okay, I really, especially in this time right now, like that's the other thing, eating seasonably, like in Ayurveda, looking at, okay, we're in
Huge difference.
what's
Huge
considered the
difference.
Vata time. So I need those root, but like this is what I'm craving to make me feel like more balanced, not only like physically, but also so like my mental capacity. So I'm not having like a spin out in the car
Right.
or something.
Well, and it's funny because like I just got back from Costa Rica, which Costa Rica was incredible, and like the energy shift as you get off the plane, and then of course the food is just, I mean, tremendous, right? And
Yeah.
but it was interesting because my body responded really well to being there, just energetically, food wise, everything. And then, but I was also holding space for 18 women, like on
Right.
this retreat with a friend of mine. So I wasn't doing it by myself, but it was still, and there were energy healers that were in the group. And they jumped in and helped a little bit here or there, whatever. But like, in the nutshell, my friend and I are holding space for 18 women, working on them day and night, working through, unbeknownst to them, because we have to energetically get them from one place to the next with each day and the agenda and the lessonry and setting it up. And, it was amazingly transcendent, just on a perspective of, future things that I would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it was even more fun because, right when, I finished day 3 and closed everything down, I was really trying to call on some rain to try, because did an ecstatic dance, where we were really focusing on seed to like the blooming to the expansion to dropping the seed and putting the fire out and getting back to calm, just really follow that flow of life. And I was literally like calling on rain, like, hey, when we hit fire, when it's time to calm down fire and get an ash out, I'd love for some rain to come in. Didn't get any rain, but we got a fucking rainbow. And like literally set perfectly right in unison, to the point where some of the women were like, oh, what? Like, and it was just like, okay, that was us. Like, but it was amazing because coming back from that, I was exhausted. So as soon as I came back, it was like I had to get grounded. So it was like pastas, rices, like gluten-free pastas,
Yeah,
obviously.
like
But
soup.
like, yeah, soup, like soup. We're talking potatoes. We're
Yes, the
talking
dog
every
agrees. The dogs are like, yes, I love how the universe is telling us.
exactly, because she's always there. Before we dive in, take a moment to explore the Capital Health shop at capitalhealth.com. Inside, you'll find a range of offerings designed to support your everyday life, including oils for your body support, customized exercise and nutrition plans, and gift cards to share that support for others. You'll also find Capital Health apparel created to reflect the mindset and energy we talk about on this show. From pieces like Big Stronger Than Your Excuses or Run Like Your Kids Are Looking For You, each item is designed to bring a little intention and personality into your day. You can explore it all at capitalhealth.com. Achieve your ideal health where health meets alignment. But like, and that's what it was. I had to really get myself, and so I've been on this binge for the last couple days because my body has needed it. So like energetically, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel a lot better. But then physically, I'm like, my body is mad. Like, like it's like, I have to find a better way to be able to get the grounding that I need without eating foods that clearly are not. Where in Costa Rica, I was fine. I ate
Right.
all of
Yeah.
all of it. and it was fine the entire time. But here, I am not okay.
Well, I mean, I think also like they're just so connected to the earth, like not only with the food, but in general. We're here, I mean, again, like we're in this time of the air element. Then you went and you traveled. That is the air element. You also were doing all of this during Mercury retrograde. Again, the air element. That was like not, there was like, so you're just like compounding like upon like. So you're like building so much imbalance. And then it's like, okay, well, how do I come back into balance? Yes, we can use food. That's like ways where we can have like lots of sweet potatoes and grounding foods. We can bring in smells like sandalwood and lavender. Yeah. You can bring in colors like the color blue is really grounding. Like, so staying away from some of like the colors that would maybe like bring us out of balance. Right. So there's like so many different, and again, like crystals, of course, so many like things that you can do. But yeah, it is a process. And I think being aware is the first step for sure.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that you always kind of incorporate all of the different variabilities because, a lot of healers, they become a master in one thing. And then that's kind of like, and then sometimes they don't expand out or they don't necessarily dive into their upgrades as, like, in practicing what they preach all the time. Like I've been across one person where it's like, you know what, I get it. She's intuitive, but at the same time, it's like, I see potential in her to be more, but then some of her inability to get out of her own way or out of her own head prevents her from being much more magnified to which she'd have a larger sense of, change and shift and all those amazing things. So, but like you always, you're always right there with me when it's like we see each other and it's like, oh, I had to go do this, or I had to go do this, or I needed this stone to be with me today. Like, hey, look, I brought this one. Isn't she pretty? Like, like you always have something right then and there. And so it's always nice. And then I love how you always have, it's like something could be going on and I'm like, oh, I don't have my peppermint. You've got your peppermint. Okay, let's go use this on this friend. And then like we go to, you are always spot on right there. Like you got the mom bag, but it's the healer bag.
I do. I don't like if people make fun of me. I've actually tried not to bring as much stuff just because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to bring it all. But then like, okay, funny story. And this like doesn't even have to do with like our bag of tricks. But like I was meeting someone at a coffee shop because it was like, oh, let's like change up the scenery. Let's go to a coffee shop and just like meet up and like do some work. And I kept getting this message that I needed my charger. And I kept being like, my computer's fine. Like, why do I need to bring this charger? And then like, because I don't know how you work with messages, but it was like, okay, if I don't do this, like, I'm just going to keep getting like beat over the head. And when I don't follow through with the messages, it's normally like not great for me.
Right. So right, exactly.
I got the charger. My computer was fine, but the guy next to me needed a charger.
Because that's exactly how that happens. It just is. I'm like, yeah. It's so funny because there's ways where you're just all of a sudden, oh, I need to go in this store right now. This would be the perfect time to go in there. Even though I was not planning on doing any grocery shopping until Friday and it was a Tuesday. And then you walk in there and then you end up bumping into someone you haven't seen in a while. And it is that time where they needed to hear whatever it was, or, just drawing on your energy or just needing the exchange, or there's just so many different variables to which it could have been. But I've stopped questioning when I have those things and just kind of do them naturally. Even when it comes to work now, like sometimes I will sit at my desk and I might have, like, I'm a Post-it note queen, Post-it notes in different colors and like keep them organized. But some of that's just so that I don't forget, because I'll be told, hey, you need to focus on this. And then I'll be like, oh, actually, let's prioritize that. And sometimes I sit down at my desk and I'm thinking I have 4 or 5 hours to write and create and do some of like programs or whatever the hell I'm working on. And then all of a sudden I get drawn to creating a guided meditation for no reason whatsoever. But then I just was called, oh, we need to go record this right now.
Yeah.
Oh, all right then. So it's become like it's been this, new pattern of behavior that I've been following for the last year, probably a year and a half now. And my life is freer, happier, and less bogged down because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the interesting thing. And I think that's always like us intuitives sometimes during the different phases, like struggling with like, okay, we don't fit in. We do things our own way, and that's okay. Like people will be like, this is the way that works for me. And I'm like, that's awesome. This is what works better for me. And it's like, just stop fighting it and be yourself.
Yeah. Well, I know that this year's been so like you've had a ton of changes in repositioning is the way that I call it. Cause you've been
I
um
called it restructuring.
okay, there we go. So that's perfect. Like that's perfect. Cause I feel like, it's not that I don't feel like you got hindered in any way, shape, or form. I feel like you were actually getting directed for okay,
Yeah,
we're ready to launch you.
I
And
know.
And
Yes.
I've kind of enjoyed watching it because, watching it from the outside perspective, but also knowing you while watching you. And it's like, it's just a testament of how you practice what you preach and how you're like, okay, I haven't gotten this answer yet, but it'll come through at some point and not questioning that. And, it's funny because like we were at an event last week where I ended up speaking. And what I found out when I was in more Costa Rica is that like my friend had said to me, and she goes, because I kind of said, like, I told her I felt like I was sitting back and just twiddling my thumbs and doing nothing. And she kind of laughed at me and she said, oh no, sweetheart, like your voice will come through at its pristine, perfect time. That's why I didn't ask you to plan to say anything. And I didn't understand it, but I just trusted, okay, whatever. She knows what she's talking about. She keeps putting me in places. And I feel like sometimes she's the chess board,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I'm a chess piece and she's putting me in position sometimes, even though I don't understand it. So I've learned to just be like, God, I don't want to, like, whatever the hell she said. Okay, fine, I'll just do it. Like, so like I'm starting to learn to just, when she does her whatever, I'm just like, okay, I don't get it. That's fine. I'll look into it. And so then it's really interesting because sure enough, even every single day, there was things for me to speak into or things for me to impact or things that needed to be said. And so what I loved from that trip is it finally gave me the permission to stop planning and channel as I speak into what is being said, to the point where, on that, like that last week, that speech, that was the first speech that I did not plan a solitary thing. All I did was hit, okay, what am I talking about? Here's the subject dot. So I wrote on a piece of paper, just like point, like this subject. And they were like 4 different points that I was going into. And that's all I had on that piece of paper. And that was just to say, okay, like I need to draw off of that energy and then just let it pour through. And so I really found out, I was like, this is your new wave. Like it's, you channel when you speak and you speak in and you read the room, because there's always going to be something different. Somebody that had bought a ticket to go there, then they didn't go there for whatever reason. Then it's like you get this group over here that's sitting together, where if they were actually split up with the other different group, then the message would be completely different because the energy is completely different.
So I want to like touch on that real quick. So I'm like, I don't know, I haven't seen your human design chart, but I have an open throat. And so I am the same way. And actually, like, I got a reading by someone, and that like has changed because I kept being like, I don't talk to people the same way. I changed up my vocabulary depending on who I'm talking to. And I'm like, say the same message, but I say it in different words, and it just hits people different, like what you're talking about. And I think that's actually like, I used to really beat myself up about this because I like felt like I lacked consistency. And now I actually like, once I found out that I have open throat in human design, I actually like love that. That's what I prefer. It's like, we knew we were going to have like an amazing organic conversation today. And I knew that like I'm coming here bringing all my experience and wisdom, but like I wasn't going to like to the T figure out what I was going to say, just like you. And that was
Right.
like the beauty of it, because like we're as healers and as like people that feel energy and vibration and frequency, that's what we're picking up on. And we're picking up on that whoever is going to listen to this episode, like we are going to say something that's going to like hit them, and we're going to say it in the exact right way and the exact tone that they need to hear it, which is like so different than like, oh, I've practiced the speech and this is what we're going to say. And I think like that's where like the magic of life and like who we are and like how we connect in so many different ways comes out by just like opening ourselves up for that.
Well, and I love that like the world is needing more connectivity through what's being said, how it's being presented. If you notice, like there's a reason why the news and TV shows and certain things are changing the way the delivery system is because people are starting to identify what they're in the mood to, feeding their vibration or lack thereof. And so therefore they will be selective in what they're choosing to feed themselves as they're streaming music, as they're streaming, different books, as they're streaming TV shows or movies. Like they're starting to be like, you know what? I'm actually needing to have this comfort hug. Oh, this was my favorite episode of the Gilmore Girls. And then you embrace that, like that kind of vibration in. Like news today, I mean, people still are talking in a delivery sense all the fucking time. And it's like people want to have the conversation. And so that's why podcasting and open dialogues are becoming the new, is because it's organic and it's what's needing to be said.
Yeah, let's talk about the news for like what we're going to take.
Go for it.
Hopefully not even that long. Okay, people that are listening to the news, I feel like afterwards you need to like give yourself an energetic shower. That is the fastest way.
Salt baths afterwards because I feel dirty.
Yeah, I'll like spray myself. I have energetic sprays, or like I'll call in protection. But that is the fastest way that you will get sick. That you will lower your vibration, going into hospitals, being around sick people, listening to the news. The way that they talk, they are preying on your fear and anxiety. They're making you think in their little worlds that all these bad things are happening. Like I was
100%.
at like a bar restaurant and they had the news on. I never listened to the news. They didn't even have the sound on, but like I kept getting distracted by that vibration in my periphery. And like literally during that time, you would have thought that like we were in apocalypse now, because they were saying like, they didn't even say one positive thing.
Yeah.
And it
doesn't even, and to be clear with everyone, it doesn't fucking matter what news source it is.
Right.
It does not matter. It is a constant attack, judgment, comparisons, system of control, and fear mongering to get you influenced and get you crazy. And the thing is like, that's part of the problem, is that there are people that are so sensitive to the world right now, and they don't even realize that vibration is what's feeding them. And then they're getting stagnant and stuck within who they are, where they're supposed to be going, because that lower vibration has infiltrated their system and they haven't cleared out. I mean, like I am a firm believer of staying updated with what's happening in our physical world, just so that like we are like we know what we're choosing and we know what's happening, right? Just because this is our life experience and we need to be aware. But I don't dive into it. I don't dive in. It's more of like, I kind of watch it like a sitcom or a Days of Our Lives, right? Like a soap opera.
That's the other thing. If you're going to watch it, so I don't watch the news because like.
I don't watch the news. I get it from podcasts that play clips. So I'm aware, and the delivery system is uplifted and positive. And it's two like ladies that beep, 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 beep. And they like, it kind of reminds me of like high school and teenagers, like how they deliver a little bit. But at the same time, I will still have to not listen to them when I have to do creative things. So like on a day like Friday and Saturday, when I'm really energetically always uplifted and I'm focused and I'm driven, I can't listen to any of it or it will drop my productivity and I can't function.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, notice how you feel afterwards. Notice if you want to do things afterwards, and like you'll just see. Like, if you're not feeling good, don't watch the news because it's gonna make you feel worse. It's gonna, if you were starting to get over whatever sickness or illness you had, like you're just gonna go back to kind of square one a little bit. And then also, if you're like, no, like Tori, I have to, like maybe you're a news junkie, and so we're just gonna like wind you off a little bit. Okay, well, like start listening to it without the music, start listening to it without sound.
Right.
Like just have, you know, the clear captioning going because like there's something about you seeing it. That's why a lot of times I have to work on people's what I call ear chakras, like right around.
Oh my God. Yeah, because it's too much.
It's like what are we taking into our bodies from the ears? They're very sensitive places. But if you take out that music, because that music in the background, their cadence is like working you into a tizzy. And then you're like, oh my gosh, you're like so anxious. But if you just take that away, then you're like, oh, that's interesting. And you can start seeing like the patterns of like, oh my gosh, I actually didn't get anything that uplifted me. I didn't get anything beneficial. So like, is you really knowing about some of these like newsworthy things in like your neck of the woods, like really helpful for you?
Yeah.
That's all I want to say there. I don't know. For some, you know, we never know what we're going to talk about. For some reason, I needed to change that.
It needs to be said. It just has to be. And I am a regular, like this morning, I woke up and after all the food, I was like, whoa, like I wasn't in the right place. And I was like, okay, if I even start to listen to that podcast, I'm done for the whole day. Like that's just going to tank me into it. So what did I do? I jumped into the shower and did a salt shower beforehand because I completely reset because I have a pitcher that has all of my salt in that pitcher. And then I put it just on the side and then literally scrub all of the places that I keep, you know, energetic blockages is, you know, especially, you know, the pits of the arms and the feet and like literally right where your armpits are, like all those little collective places. And so and then afterwards, it's like I completely just reboot, wake up, and I'm at least ready to be there for other people. So
yeah, that's, oh my gosh, you brought up some good points. Okay, people, if you're going to listen to the news afterwards, call in some white light, golden white light. Highest vibrational color. Let it surround you. You're going to feel better and it's going to uplift your vibration. 2, please don't listen to the news while you're eating because that's like a really nurturing place. Like notice how upset your stomach is afterwards. All right. Done with that soapbox moment.
Well, and then my favorite part is like you're bringing up high vibrational colors and it almost goes into like how you dress today and how you're telling me before backstage that you're like, I had to change several times, but I kept getting called to put this on.
Well, it was funny because I kept being like, okay, you know, I think maybe I should change my outfit. But no, like we were talking about, so I work with color theory in therapy. And so a lot of times I will wear things or I will recommend to clients, okay, you really need to wear these. So like, for example, black is a really protective color. So if you know you're going to go somewhere and you're just like, I'm not sure about something, like I feel like I need to go to battle, I'm feeling vulnerable, then like you'll wear black. But like if
I do actually wear black when I feel like I'm suiting up. like I literally, it's my power of like, okay, let's get this shit done. And when I'm not in the mood to get it done.
Right. It's like, okay, let's go. Or like, oh, this could be like a really icky situation. So I need to go to this. So like, I'm going to be ready.
Yeah.
Or like I've had clients who are wanting to get pregnant. And when they're like, oh, I only wear black. I'm like, well, how are you supposed to be able to create anything? Like, I'm like, even just like undergarments that are pink or green or any color would be more supportive than you wearing head to toe black. Because again, we just talked about like nothing is getting in this barrier and then being like,
open yourself up. Right.
Yeah, no, but like colors have vibration and colors have emotions and energy. So like you've seen the updated olive oil labeling and you've seen my branding and it's all about like
vibrant, attractive.
Yeah. So it's like pinks and red. So I'm very like root chakra, heart chakra. And we talked about earlier how a lot of times like I will have to, like I was told that I had to wear, like, again, I was told I had to wear this because gold is the highest vibrational color. I've been told like at this point, I don't even question it. Like I've been told on certain occasions by my guides and my higher self, like, okay, you have to wear this, and I'll not know why. And then it's just like seeing a client, oh, that's my favorite color. Oh my gosh, we're wearing the same color. Or we worked on something, for example, like maybe I was wearing pink and we worked on a lot of heart chakra things. So I had to wear pink. There's been so many times, I can't even tell you, where I've just had to have a certain color or wear a certain thing. And it's because like they needed that. That was part of their healing. Or like I'll stay away from certain reds if I have a client dealing with a lot of anger or frustration or overwhelm, because like that is going to raise that frequency in them, and we're trying to come back into alignment and balance.
Yeah, it's such an impact, because like me being aware of that with one of the energy healers that I will work with, and it's so funny because she does the same thing, that she's called to wear certain things, but I always, me knowing that, I actually get excited to see, like, I wonder what outfit she was told to put on today, because I really am like, what are the guides saying? And what's so fascinating to me is it's always all this floral shit, like constant floral and constant, like more of the pinks and more of the like it's more of like feminine soothing in weight, it's just, and it's so interesting. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because, like, even though I do work within my feminine and am better practiced now that I'm training myself to do so, because I've been so of a masculine doer of doing just all the do's and the giving. And one of the things I found the most fascinating was a color that I have despised for years, like, for the longest time. And sure as shit, right when I'm having to deal with self-worth, self-value, working on being open and ready to receive and really functioning in healthy feminine energy and healing the wounded feminine within myself, and making sure that masculine doesn't overtrump like what I'm trying to work on. And sure enough, the color that I despise was orange, like the color of receiving. Yeah. And so it was so fascinating, like, and it's my son's favorite freaking color, which I was like, oh my gosh. And then as soon as I went into that, now I have no issues with orange. Like, it's not that I don't have issues with it, but it's like, I actually am like, ooh, that is a very enjoyable orange or a peach or what, and I'll find different versions that I really like with it. And even my son this year, his wish for his birthday was he wanted to repaint his room, and he wanted to paint it orange. And I'm like, holy crap, like, look how much I've grown in a year and a half. Like, woohoo, like, I'm doing good.
I love that. No, but the other thing I was getting, it was funny because you were telling me about your healer wearing these florals. What I wasn't picking up on until now is that this is where I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder what was going on in your astrological chart, because colors also and certain symbols also relate to the planet. So like, if someone's like, a lot of times I'll talk to people about remedies. And again, I am a firm believer that we have so many, as we've talked about, tools in our toolkit that we don't have to like, go out and buy like a big stone or like a gem. But for example, you were talking about florals, that has to do with Venus and Venus.
How energy. Funny.
And like interesting. Understanding where that is in your chart, or like where that lives in your body, just like so many different and interesting things. But the other thing is, like, I can tell, it's like weird how I kind of pick up in my own way on if someone's like aura's off and their color palette's off, but I can tell if someone's like wearing a color and it's not right for them. Or like I'll watch something, like I was watching it was like an advertisement or something with like one of the tools that I use for sessions. And I remember being like, the person was talking and they were on camera, and I'm like, that lipstick color is not right for your aura. I remember getting that down. So it's like interesting. Like
you're becoming an interior designer for the soul. Like, let me dress you for let me match your aura colors properly. it's
but it's
true.
like, it's not, I'm like, that isn't even a joke though, because I have a friend that is a realtor and she was telling me how they were having issues selling a house. And I go, okay, well, like what they had it staged. I was like, tell me about the house. And she was telling me it was like mute. It was like greens and blues and whites. And I was like, ooh, people are like so at peace that they're not activated to make an offer. So then I was like, show me. She like had pictures. So she showed me. I was like, okay. I was like, here's what you need to do. First off, like when you go in the house, like I also go in and like do home harmonizings and like change the energy. But I was like, here, like, here's what you need to do. Get some sprays, break up the energy in the house. But then I was like, you need to bring colors like yellows, not reds, because we don't want to like get too passionate for people in that anger. But I'm like, yellows, oranges, pinks. I was like, we need more of those brighter energetic tones. So like the easiest way is like bringing flowers. That's why like if people are having certain issues, I'm like, okay, like a really easy remedy is buying flowers and then just intuitively going with that color you need. But then, okay, so then they had the open house and she like did what I told her to do. And she's like, oh yeah, we got an offer on the house. I was like, yeah, because people were woken up now. They weren't asleep at the wheel.
It's true. And it's in like, so people are so responsive to that. I mean, like there's a reason why doctors' offices are usually blue. Like, because they're trying to calm people down. Like,
so that they can out for being at the doctor. It's like, don't go to the doctor, just come see one of us. You know?
Just like, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really want to ask, I want our audience to know, how do they look you up? How do they find you? Because I swear by your oils. They're just absolutely incredible. I mean, they really just absolutely, I even noticed my mother has great shifts and she's not necessarily energetically inclined when it comes to some of her radar and awareness, but she always gets uplifted and feels great after ingesting.
I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
Is it the Reiki healing energy that I infuse in the olive?
It absolutely is.
From Spain. So I joke that like my name is two fashion brands like Tory Burch and Saks Fifth Avenue, and spelled the same way. So literally, if you know my name, you can find me. It's just Tory Saks, TorySaks.com. And then from there, you can, like, if you want to learn more about my services, you can look and book one or just contact me, or you can go on the shop website. I've got a bunch of different fun things like the olive oil or space.
And definitely follow you on your socials, because on Instagram, you will put updates on what's going on energetically, and you will go into actual depth of planetary alignment and where things are coming through, which I love, because that is not my skill set. Like, I'm oils, I am vibrations, frequencies, I am, premonitions, channeling, all of those different things. Herbs will connect with me, oils will connect with me, but I don't always like stones and gems. It's not on my radar, right? Yeah. Like, but you are always like, I don't get the planetary alignments and who's in what house and all the things, but it's like, I love learning about it, but at the same time, I have no problem handing that over to you and be like, you just tell me, because that's not my job. Like, if my job's over here.
So happy to help you out. And like, we didn't go in too much with the stones, but just like really quickly, they're like my friends, the crystals. And so
I do the same thing with trees. Like, I am like, when a tree calls me and I'm like, oh, hi friend. Okay. And then I will be going for a run, and then I will randomly stop and be hugging a tree or holding hands with one.
There you go.
Yeah, and you do that with your rocks.
And like, things talk to me. Like, I went to my chiropractor the other day, or maybe this was like a few weeks ago, and he had a painting on the ground. And I was like, that painting is really upset that it's on the ground. Every time I'm here, I'm like, can we just like move it somewhere so it's not on the ground so I can feel? But things like talk to me. So like, stones talk to me. I'll go into people's homes and like, we'll need to move some stuff around, and those things talk to me. But that's like how I know what I need to work on. What I need to bring in, because like, they'll just kind of eye me is the best way to put it. And then like, when I put it in the right spot, I feel really in balance and harmonious and very centered. but like if I put it in the wrong spot, I'm very agitated.
I did the same thing with our house. Like when I do that with our house and I'm putting things in place, and I've never been like, no, I don't need it. I don't need an interior design. Like I just need time and space with what I'm doing. And then, I even do that with decorations where I'm like, no, that doesn't feel right. Oh, hold on. And it's like, it goes into the feng shui and the flow and the coloring and all the different things, but you're always so fun. I just love it when you're like, oh no, sweetie, you need this. And I'm like, I don't know if I have that stone at home.
Okay. There's a lot of stones that do a lot of different things and some kind of overlap. So I'm like, you do this, and this.
And you always have it. You're just like, hey, if you don't have this, then use this and this and this, or, and you're always putting that together. So it's always amazing. So what is something what you would like to leave with our listeners today? Messages, quotes, anything to live by from your gloriousness that you are?
Okay. For some reason, the ending message I'm getting is that, and I feel like people are feeling really lonely right now, and they're not believing in the magic that is us being on this planet, even if sometimes it can be really hard. So I just want to say, like, we all have a team of people. Mm-hmm. We all have a team. And if you're feeling alone, like, reach out to me and I'll be happy to help you in any way that I can. But, start working with your benevolent ancestors, start working with a higher power, your highest self, ascended masters, archangels, spirit guides. It could even just be like a dragon, whatever. Yeah. I don't know why. That is like the ending message that I'm getting, is that you are not alone.
So accurate. Yeah.
You are
so
not
accurate. You are not alone. So accurate. And honestly, and it's that realization of really realizing you're not alone actually is the quickest way to get you to higher ground.
Love that. Okay. Forgot that was our topic. Yay.
All right, Tori, I'm going to put you in backstage, and I love you. I'll see you in a bit. And ta-ta for our viewers. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me today on The Capital Life, where we talk about all the things. Join me next Saturday as we release our next topic. I don't even have the title in front of me, and that doesn't matter because it's everything that it needs to be. But remember to take care of yourself, because you are somebody's everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube and Facebook at Capital Health. That's Kapitol Health. Please share with your friends and family. The Capital Life is available on all podcasting platforms except Pandora. Our goal at The Capital Life is to provide a safe place to get information when it comes to your health and wellness, especially when dealing with all of life's phases. Remember to take care of yourself, because you're somebody's everything.